The defense has the right to request a preliminary hearing within 10 days of the arraignment, which would be 10 days from today. Often, though, what will happen in that 10 days is they will get discovery from us. That discovery is incredibly voluminous. We estimate there will literally be terabytes of digital and forensic evidence, witness interviews. At some point, the court might unseal the grand jury transcripts.
A rising music star, a Tesla, and a front trunk filled with a nightmare. Today, we're deconstructing the legal downfall of David. Is this a case of a lone wolf losing his mind, or is the DA hiding something much bigger? Let's check out the moment the DA describes the forensic horror that changed this case forever.
Launched a probe into the deaths or disappearances of nearly a dozen scientists who have worked in U.S. nuclear or rocket technology. This is something that Oversight Chairman James Comer called a potential, quote, grave threat to U.S. national security if the reports are accurate. This is a major escalation. And then later, the U.S. government launched its tariff refund portal today following the Supreme Court's February ruling that President Trump was not authorized to impose those tariffs. $166 billion is going to be refunded to businesses, but what does it actually mean for you? What does it mean for the consumer? We're going to break it down. But we have to start right now. I talk big developments today, charges against David. 7 months in the making. The singer David, real name David Anthony Burke, was arraigned today out in Los Angeles in connection with the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Last September, her dismembered and decomposed body was found inside of a Tesla allegedly registered to Burke. And today, Celeste's family was in court as the 21-year-old entered a plea of not guilty. Now, Burke faces multiple charges here, including one that could put the death penalty on the table, even though there's a moratorium on executions in California. But we're talking first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a minor, and mutilation of human remains. At today's presser, District Attorney Nathan Hochman said that this murder charge includes 3 special circumstances allegations: lying in wait, murder for financial gain, and killing a witness in an investigation. So prosecutors allege, essentially, that Burke killed Celeste to protect his budding music career after she threatened to report their sexual relationship. The district attorney also saying that that relationship may have begun when she was as young as 13 years old. Now, Hochman announced a special allegation that Burke personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon described as a sharp instrument to commit this crime. Burke's attorneys, though, they fired back. They maintain his innocence. They sent us this statement: the actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. And yes, to be clear, David is innocent until proven guilty. And normally, this would be the point where I start connecting the dots of walking through what prosecutors say happened. I don't have to do that tonight. Why? Because the man bringing these charges is here with us. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman joins us now live. Thank you so much for taking the time, sir. I know this is an important day for you, your office, Celeste's family, but I have been following this case every day for 7 months. So I have a lot of questions for you, and I was hoping you could clarify some things. First of all, can you tell us why David wasn't charged on Friday when he was arrested? Because I understand there were reports of a grand jury was hearing evidence, so usually, right, there would be an indictment and an arrest in conjunction. Why wasn't he charged on Friday?
Hochman is forced to explain why it took 7 months and a weekend arrest to finally bring charges. Weber hits him on the lack of sync between the LAPD and the DA's office. This is the classic bureaucratic tap dance. Hochman tries to hide behind the difference between grand juries to mask what looks like a chaotic scramble for coordination. The reality is the LAPD likely got tired of waiting and forced the DA's hand by making the arrest. Hochman's claim that they are in lockstep feels like a polished PR move to cover up internal friction that almost let a suspected murderer walk free for months.
And over the last 7 months, more importantly, the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division, working with the DA's office, has methodically and rigorously gone through the forensic and digital evidence, dealt with every witness statement we could obtain in order to get to this point when we have filed the charges. And very often in Los Angeles, those charges will follow an arrest within 48 hours, unless there's a weekend, of an arrest.
The reason I ask you that is because there were reports that the DA's office and the LAPD weren't on the same page, that something happened during this grand jury that stalled it, and the LAPD made an arrest, put the pressure on the DA's office to make a charging decision today. Because even in the announcement on Friday, your office had said that they were aware of the arrest. So there was this report that perhaps you weren't on the same page when it came to charging David. Your response?
That's completely unfounded. We have been on the same page working in lockstep with the LAPD robbery homicide since they picked up this case in September of 2025, when Celeste, the 14-year-old at the time, when her body was found dismembered and severely decomposed in the front trunk of a Tesla that was owned and registered to Mr. Burke, David Burke. So again, to the extent that anyone wants to create some type of story that the LAPD and the LADA's office were not working in lockstep, that would be untrue.
So I guess the question would be, doesn't this now have to go to a preliminary hearing for there to be enough probable cause to sustain these charges? This is something that his defense attorneys pointed out today. They want an immediate preliminary hearing that would be in front of a court. It's public. It's not a grand jury. Some would say it's easier to get charges in front of a grand jury than a preliminary hearing, particularly where I believe his defense attorney is now questioning the cause of death. So I go back to the question, is this the way that you always envision this case, to present it in front of a court as opposed to a grand jury? Is there an advantage to doing this?
So we typically actually present these type of cases at a preliminary hearing. The defense has the right to request a preliminary hearing within 10 days of the arraignment, which would be 10 days from today. Often, though, what will happen in that 10 days is they will get discovery from us. That discovery is incredibly voluminous. We estimate there will literally be terabytes of digital and forensic evidence, witness interviews. At some point, the court might unseal the grand jury transcripts, and they will get the grand jury transcripts. We have now, the court today issued an order to the coroner to release the coroner's report in this case. So whether or not the defense can be ready within the next 10 days to have a preliminary hearing, the only thing I can assure you is that that preliminary hearing goes forward, we will be prepared for it.
When they're disputing cause of death, any indication about why they're doing that? I mean, it's one thing to say he's innocent, he didn't do this. They're disputing cause of death. They're putting the pressure now on your office to prove this at a preliminary hearing. Is there something about the cause of death? And I don't believe they've seen the coroner's report. Anything you could say that might raise a question about that, or why they're raising a question about that?
The defense is already disputing the cause of death before even seeing the coroner's report. This is a bold, albeit grotesque, tactical move to disrupt the prosecution's momentum. The defense has telegraphed their entire play: obfuscation over truth. By questioning the cause of death now, they are trying to plant a seed of doubt that the victim died of something accidental before the alleged dismemberment. It's a nauseating legal loophole designed to take the death penalty off the table. Hochman's refusal to engage shows he knows the forensic evidence is his strongest weapon, and he isn't going to let a defense lawyer's pre-game talk rattle the case.
Your theory of the case is that Burke allegedly lured Celeste out to this property, that she was going to report him to the police about their relationship, and that is why he killed her. And if I'm correct, how do you intend to prove that?
So the actual details of the evidence will be presented at the preliminary hearing and later at a trial. What we charge, though, and what the complaint charges, is first-degree murder with 3 different special circumstances. The first one is lying in wait. And the allegation, as alleged in the complaint, is that Burke invited Celeste to his house the night of April 23rd, 2025, at which point he was lying in wait to murder her. The second special circumstance that was charged, and by the way, the reason you end up charging special circumstances in California is that if you have first-degree murder and you get convicted of it, it's 25 years to life.
Right.
But that allows the life sentence to be with the possibility of parole. If any one of the 3 special circumstances is found beyond a reasonable doubt by the jury, that then creates a life without the possibility of parole sentence, or if we so choose to seek it, the death penalty.
You mentioned cooperating and non-cooperating witnesses. I will tell you, people will look at this and say, okay, if the allegations are true, how on earth could David, this singer, kill this girl, dismember her body, leave it in a Tesla all by himself? There are those who say there's no way that he could have done this by himself, yet he's the only one charged. Are we dealing with a circumstance where there might be others involved, but they're cooperating, and if they choose not to cooperate anymore, they may be charged? Because I was listening to the press conference today. I was wondering if there's a little bit of opening that other people might be involved here.
Well, we have an ongoing investigation in the sense that if any individuals have information about Mr. Berg or anything dealing with this particular crime, please at any time reach out to the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division or the DA's office and bring us that information. With respect to any potential other individuals, as I said during the press conference, if and when we charge anybody else, and I'm not saying we will, you'll be the first to know.
The logistics of this crime, dismemberment and long-term storage in a Tesla, raise massive red flags about whether David acted alone. Hochman's response to the accomplice question is notably guarded. Hochman is being suspiciously evasive. He mentions cooperative and non-cooperative witnesses in one breath, and ongoing investigation in the next. This smells like a backroom deal in progress. The prosecution is likely protecting an accomplice to secure the big fish conviction. It's a ruthless calculation, letting a smaller player go free to ensure the celebrity face of the crime spends his life behind bars. The DA is winning on strategy, but the moral cost of these deals is something he's clearly not ready to discuss.
This case and what you described today, you're 100% right. What was it like sitting down with Celeste's family? Because during the course of these 7 months, we really haven't heard too much from them, and I understand why.
You know, I mean, as any parents, and I am a parent of 3 children, can appreciate, when your daughter goes missing, and she went missing the night of April 23rd, 2025, and days go by, first hours go by, then days, then weeks. You don't know if she's alive, you don't know if she's dead. And then months go by, over 4 months, until finally it comes to light that your daughter's body has been cut up, mutilated, it's decomposing in bags inside of a front trunk of a Tesla, all the way into September of 2025. Then you want to know, I mean, that not only is that your worst nightmare, that is the most horrible possible result that can happen. And now you want justice at some level. It'll never bring her back. It's impossible. But you want the killer and that murderer found, brought to court, have the evidence presented, convicted, and punished. And that's what we intend to do.
The medical examiner's report, before I let you go, talked about it being unsealed. When can we expect it to be unsealed, and what can we expect to be in that report regarding cause of death? And you also mentioned that Burke allegedly used a sharp instrument. How much is that report going to fill in the details?
Until that report's public, I can't comment on it, but I will tell you that the judge issued the order today to the coroner's office to make it public. I don't know how fast they'll respond to that order. I would imagine expeditiously. So I would imagine, again, within the next several days or week, that report will become public, and then you can read it and make your own determinations.
Hochman ends by confirming the sharp instrument allegation and the impending release of the coroner's report, effectively sealing the public's perception of the defendant. This is the final nail in the coffin for David's public defense. Hochman is winning the media war by drip-feeding horror movie details like the sharp instrument and the front trunk storage. By the time the defense gets to trial, the jury pool will already be saturated with the image of a cold-blooded monster. Hochman is a master of the narrative slow burn, ensuring that even if the legal battle is long, the reputational execution is already complete.
Appreciate you taking the time after what is a very long day to help clarify some information in this case. Appreciate you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
At the end of the day, Nathan Hochman isn't just prosecuting a murder. He's managing a public relations crisis. Whether David is a cold-blooded killer or a victim of a forensic rush to judgment, the DA has already won the only court that matters in 2026. The court of public opinion. He's traded innocent until proven guilty for a front trunk horror story that the defense can't scrub away. But let me know what you think. Is the DA playing it smart by drip-feeding these gruesome details, or is this a desperate power move to cover up a 7-month investigation failure? Drop a comment below. I'm reading all of them. The truth is usually buried. In this case, it was just hidden in the frunk. I'm Vanguard, and this has been The Report. See you in the next one.